Welcome to the next mini project, and that is mounting the charging plug.
Please feed the YouTube algorithm by giving the video a like. If you want to see more like this, click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified of new videos. If you want to chip in on my expenses, I now have Patreon and YouTube memberships.
Now I need a new charging plug because this is the standard in Europe. It's called a Type 2. Different physical pinout, but luckily the same signaling as here in North America, so I get to reuse the same charging controller box, which is a very good thing. Now the challenge is where to install this. The 914 has no external gas cap. The gas cap was actually under the hood in the gas tank right about there. I initially had the charging plug here in the front along the bottom, but I'm going to move it to the back because that's where the charging box is going to be, and I want to keep the AC run as short as possible. Then from a packaging standpoint of view, where do I put it? There is not much empty space left here. So my idea was to install it right here. Because if you look down, this is the corner of the battery box right here. And if I can get this right here next to the corner of the battery box, that's really great access underneath this thing. Let me zoom out a bit. So this very easily pops up. I can put the charging handle here and just go boop like that and charge it. But I need to mount it to something, so I searched high and low, found a box that's the right size to mount that onto, and this will go right here, and it will bolt to the side of the battery box, and the cable will run through here and out the side into the battery box, and the charger is right here, so the AC run is very, very short. That was a real challenge, finding a generic plastic box that was the right size. Not too small, not too big. I'd wanted one that extended down further, but nobody had any, so I had to go for this one, which is going to make a fairly tight bend for the wires, but luckily the plug can do it. So let's get started. Okay, we punched a hole with the hydraulic hole puncher, which is pretty sweet. Gives you a clean hole without this spinning around like mad in the drill press. But then I have to notch around this part and that part so that it'll fit in here. And with the help of Mr. Dremel, we now have the socket in the top of the box. You can see the relief cuts I had to make. Then now I get to go and find some black hardware to fit those screws, paint this all black, and it's going to look great. Okay, so I got the charging socket bolted into the top cover with black hardware and spray painted black. It looks really good, although it's gloss versus flat. I installed a drain tube, and I put a hole with a gland nut in the bottom of the mounting box. Then we will now position this here and measure it and figure out how to attach it to the main battery box. Okay, I cleaned the rear battery boxes and put it in place to test the alignment, and this box is going to go in perfectly. It clears this mounting tab for the top by ½ an inch. It clears this metal grill by nothing. And because of that, it looks like I'll be able to mount this entire assembly and keep it intact with the battery box when I install it. I won't have to put it in later. So, and the good thing is there are mounting holes here to hold this piece to this piece, and one of them will penetrate right through that box, keep it super nice and tight, and I'll put another couple of bolts here, and that will keep that box nice and strong for the charging handle to go like that. And that's a pretty good look right there. Okay, here's the test fit. It's bolted in in 3 places, and the power cable, the AC, is coming out a small hole into the battery box, and the charger will be mounted here. So let's see how it looks. This is the twist off. Then you take your charging handle and you plug it in like so, and you are charging. Now this is going to be a lot more rigid once the other half of the battery box is in and everything is held down, but it's looking good. The only downside is when the cap is on, I tried to lower this and there's the tiniest bit of interference from this little ridge right here, so I may have to give that a little trim, but otherwise it's looking good. So I'm going to take this off, put a bunch of silicone sealant between the box and the battery box to make sure this is no water gets in here, and the drain tube goes down there, draining away any water that gets in up here. So this looks pretty good. And now we just have to wait for the rest of this build to finish off the wiring and the installation. Just before we wrap up, I want to thank my Patreons, Peter Bouvier and Puppy, for their support. We also just popped over 2,000 subscribers, which is quite a nice milestone for my little channel. All support is greatly appreciated. Hey, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please give it a thumbs up. I see that 81% of the viewers aren't subscribed. Please do, as it does help the YouTube algorithm. Take care and see you next time.